How are you, Miss Sia?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing, Mr. Mike?
Oh man, I'm even more goofy than normal. So either that's a good thing and more people will stay, or they're leaving 5 minutes. What else is new? Huh?
should,
Oh,
should,
so let's So what we're going to start off. This is I said third month. This is the third week at the Hounds of Women's History Month. We had International Women's Day, and pretty much we're celebrating both past, the history, and the present. But it's not just for women. All right. So if this is free coaching, we got some rock stars mentoring going on with some great seasoned ladies in public speaking and communications with some ladies who are fairly new, not inexperienced, but fairly new to that industry. They don't make tons of money in that industry. And so anybody who wants to be a better speaker, communicator, looking to up their game in marketing and PR, you've come to the right place. Um, so in lieu, before we roll the intro, let's go ahead and throw out um, the women's. We got two questions this time because everybody had so much fun. Before Constance Leland gets here, Dr. Constance, everybody has a chance to get the answer right because she knows everything, like for real. Um, so before Dr. Constance gets here, everybody go ahead and guess what you think the answer is. Um, the question is, right, women who worked for women's right to vote were called what? Women who worked for women's right to vote were called A, radical, B, immoral, C, now dadgummit, well, how do you say that?
Suffragist.
There you go.
Man,
Suffragist. Yeah.
hold please. You
Or
know what happens when you do that, sir. Already, not even like 2 minutes in. Dadgummit, everyone take a sip.
oh no, hurry up. Dr. Constance ain't here yet. Look, it's Kat Downing. Kat Downing, Mary Baker. Look at that. We got the
So we got some
okay.
answers.
So
We got answers in the mix. Mary
I
Baker
was I
says
was
C.
dude, I'm sitting here going, why is everybody typing the alphabet? Duh, just ask the question. I told you I was goofy. All right. So women who worked for women's right to vote were called. Go ahead and roll the intro and let's get started. We will reveal the answer hopefully before Dr. Constance comes.
Okay,
Do
let's
it.
do this, guys.
Are you looking to grow your business and your mindset alongside a fun and awesome pack? Grab a chair and your favorite beverage and join Mike Ashebrainer, the business mechanic, and his win-win network for the Hounds of Business Happy Hour.
All right. Um, yeah, so I'm not going to answer this yet. We'll come back to this. How about that? We'll give everybody a chance to settle in and come in and view it.
All right,
So we have just a few announcements, right?
we
So the
do.
first one is our buddy, our good buddy Stephanie Delfonso. She brings the calm, all right? And she really does. And anybody who knows me or seen me for 5 seconds, man, there's so many goofy things and hokey sounding stuff. But I always want to be open minded because I didn't have a good life or success until I started being open minded. Don't mean stupid minded. It just means that you're open to evaluating and seeing. So when I met Stephanie, wasn't quite sure with the whole, mind technique and those kind of things. But as she just said, hey, she's very charming, very relatable, and she said, "Hey, try this." So I tried it. I tried a technique for my daughter and myself, and then I tried it on the dog to calm, and it worked on all three. So I asked her on Raquel's show. I said, "Hey, Stephanie, did you know that worked on animals like before or after I said that?" Right. So anybody who does something good, who doesn't have stress, my gosh, right? Um, we're all coming out of wintertime, vitamin D deficiencies, right? So Stephanie is working with Maven, right? And she has a great program, a training. It benefits us. Some of it I think is discounted and free. If she can get 100 people to sign up on the email, the waiting list, then she's going to have the highlight and features section, and she's going to pay that forward for us. So let's support Stephanie. Again, you can unsubscribe to this. This is real deal. This is a reputable company and a reputable woman. She's a beloved member of the Hounds. fairly new. So rally around her, get people, friends, family, uh, just get them to go. And it's ibraincalm.com and just register. I had everybody in my household register. I was going to get the dog an email, but I figured that'd be too much.
Oh my god.
So yeah, the dog don't have thumbs. It gets hard to put in the password. So anyway, go out there and show some love and support to Stephanie. We appreciate her. Any real people. And speaking of real people, there's Gail. All right, Gail S. I just have to say Gail S. She tell it's so simple.
Yeah,
Si-
I do wanna
I-
say, Gail, I do apologize. I saw that after I uploaded it, this misspelling. I'm just full disclosure, I got that directly from Mike, so I should have double checked his spelling. I did not. So, damn it,
I didn't
Janet. Dadgummit, Mike.
I did. Man, I'm like a broken speaking spell. I didn't type none. All right.
Dude, did you
So
copy and paste? Because
man, I'm a monkey with the key. I just played the piano on the keyboard. I'm sorry, but yeah, check out Gail. She's got a great book. Some of the people in the pack have read it and shared it with others. I know Becky's got a copy, and so again, that's what makes it special, man. If you're going to go out there and find somebody with a solution or something that can help you, who are you going to go to? Somebody that you know who backs you up, who helps you out, or somebody you don't know. That's just the point. I'm not going to go to some steakhouse if my buddy has one down the street, right? Let's get real.
right.
So, speaking of that, the next one I want to make sure everybody's on because I know you've seen Redneck Pilates. Yes, there's some more goofy but serious clips. I'm actually getting stronger, so they're getting less funny. So I'll do you all a favor and put my old episodes of me doing the Pilates where I fall down a lot. But I did fall down yesterday, and I will put that on there for you. All right. So Michael Gale is who I'm talking about. Michael Gale out mgaleoutdooradventures.com. Go to his LinkedIn, Michael Gale. And he's got a program coming up. He did live Pilates about a month ago, was it?
Yeah,
And it was fun, man. We had all kind of people showed up to that, had fun. Raquel, Miss Raquel Flores,
Raquel.
um, myself. He yelled at me too. You were there? Yeah, you were there. When I wasn't paying attention, I was like, "Could I get a Michael Gale T-shirt?" And he's like, "You're supposed to be in Downward Dog, right?" You remember
Yeah.
that? Yeah, that was fun. But he won't yell at y'all anymore 'cause I'm
It's
mean.
fun getting yelled
So
at. Yeah.
yeah, it was funny. Now I'm gonna get a hat because he may hurt my feelings. I'm a kind of a cream puff. But so yeah, go. He's having another one. Um, suspense. So I want you to follow, ring his bell, ring the notification bell for Michael Gale, and go check out what he's got because he's got some real good stuff. And I like his style because he gives you real stuff. It's not that teaser like the sample at the Kroger or the grocery store. He's giving out free like pounds of meat. As far as substance and value. So go out there and support him. And wow, look, Janice is here. All these people just make me smile. Johanna was a star today. Supermom Lachelle had an audio, and Johanna jumped on it.
Nice.
Right? Hanging around crazy people makes it so much easier to get yourself out there, right, Johanna? All right, so you're welcome because anytime you're around me, you'll never look crazy, right? That's my job. So you're welcome, and always good to hang with her. She is so fun. She does paintings, really good paintings, and until I distract her on her Tuesday live stream. So all right. So do we have an answer for the question?
Yes, we do. Why don't we pull up the question one more time? And that way, everyone that is new will have an opportunity to check it out. So, do you want to read it one more time?
All right. Women who worked for women's right to vote were called radical, B, immoral, C, that word C I can say, and D, all the above.
Yes. So the funny thing is I really should have. Now it's irking me. Thanks, Gail. And I feel like terrible. Feel terrible about it all. So, just to recap, lots of C's, lots of B's, lots of D's, and the answer is everyone. Drum roll. Oh, whoops, wrong button. D. Is anyone really surprised? No? Yeah?
Yeah.
No? Anyone surprised?
Oh,
Bueller? Bueller? No? Th-
it,
Thanks, Shelly.
hey, stay tuned. Stay tuned because then we're going to take a halftime show and cut the ladies off because I have another question that I know stumped me. I was surprised by the next question that will show in a little while. So hopefully, Dr. Constance she'll probably know it. All right. I'll quiz her. We'll bring her up and have her quizzed. But
We could do
all
that.
right. So thanks for playing along. I don't see Miss Raquel anywhere. That makes me
She has
maybe the aliens
children.
got her.
She got to feed her kids too. Come on, Mike.
Huh. Yeah, but I'm spoiled. All right. So I'll man up and get through the show. All right. So, um, oh, I don't know if you even got my graphic up there. Uh, we had a great audio from Lachelle. If you don't know Lachelle Atkins, America's Supermom, she's a fantastic person. Really was instrumental in giving me confidence to do what I do today. So blame her if you're not happy, but praise her if you are. Very good, uplifting lady. She tackles tough conversations to make people, you know, understand each other, move forward as a people in society, and just grow. And so really, something came up today, and I wanted to reshare this because it's not just about doing a task or growing on LinkedIn and followers and stuff, guys. This is something that I was blessed to learn and to grow. I'm surrounded by all these great people in the comments and in the panel, and I really just wanted to make some friends, man. Kind of like I said, I joke about Zuckerberg making Facebook, like Chris Rock said. Like that's the same reason I did this. Like I just wanted to be surrounded by people that were like me, right? That wanted to push each other up, who were facing challenges and helping each other through it. But I'll give you one tip that came out today, and I loved it. They said, how do you find the right people to invest in? How do you know they're the right people that you should spend time on and cultivate that relationship? And that was a great question. One that I didn't understand the answer to until about for 6 months of banging my head against the wall, meeting with people that, quite frankly, I wish I never met. We've all, some people are up their own tailpipe, so to speak. And so the question went to Brandy. And here's the thing: be yourself, but be your best self. It, being boring and looking like everybody, this just isn't my thing. And I don't think it should be your thing. Even if you don't go out and try to be something you're not, but be who you are. Be the best person that you can be, and that's the benefit of a pack. So here's my practical advice. It's real simple. If you think of networking online, offline, doesn't matter. Think of it as a game of ping pong, right? So I'm just constantly saying hi or leaving a comment to somebody's post, a meaningful comment. Might go and like several other comments. I might tag somebody. Hey, Sia, do you know my buddy Sia? She will like this. Because everybody out there who posts, when you come back, do you want to see hundreds of likes and people going crazy over you, or do you want to see no likes and you wasted your day and feel bad? It's like getting picked last when you were on the basketball team when you're Mike in the city, right? So it sucks. So here's what I'm going to say. If I go and like and comment and try to get your attention and I'm doing nice things and I'm practicing my kindergarten skills and you don't respond, I'll move on. I might come back later, but I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep hitting the ping pong to somebody. And when that person hits the ping pong back, then I might hit it a little bit harder. I might amp it up a little bit. I might tag some more people. Those kind of things is what I teach. So if somebody's playing the game, it don't mean you write people off if they're not ready, but you don't waste time. So that's how I can spend time finding all these people because they were ready to play ping pong. And some people will sit on the sidelines and they'll get up and play later, maybe next month, right? So that's my advice. Sort and play as many games of ping pong, right? 10 people you try to like and comment, two of them right back, that's a win, right? So if you need help, if you're trying to figure out, if you're trying to start a business and entrepreneurship and you don't know what you're doing, well, join the club. I know a little bit. I'm maybe a couple steps ahead of you. So go to my website, theprobusinessmechanic.com, and let's have a chat, man. So other than that shameless plug, let's bring up the Power Pack ladies on this panel. I'm so excited. Um, so who are we gonna bring up first? I ain't running nothing. It's your job.
What? You told me you were going to tell me who you want to bring up. Don't be throwing back on me, young man.
No, I'll put on the write up. Just throw ladies up there and I'll say hi to them. I think that's what I wrote.
No. Did you do it right? I don't
No,
think you
wait.
did. You should pull up the ladies.
There we go. All right, just throw them up there. Good evening, ladies. How are you?
Good.
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 I love that little healthy competition at the beginning. Who are you bringing up first? The anticipation was killing me.
Stressful.
Well,
I
I'm
was
gonna be in
scared.
trouble either way. I mean, so
There's
we'll
no
start with
winning.
Madison. Madison is new and it's got a gaming chair and
Yeah.
dressed nice for the show for her very first time, right? So, um, Madison, how are you?
I am doing great. I am doing well. Thank you. How are you
Good, good.
doing
So you're
tonight,
not
Mike?
well. You're so nice. I am doing great. Goofier than normal. Hey, so that's good. So you have a background in marketing, right? Even though
Yes.
you're newish and you're young, but you understand.
Yes.
Right? Tell us what your background is and what you do now.
So I originally have a degree in, well, I received my degree in 2018. I have a bachelor's in public relations and broadcast, actually. And lo and behold, I had a few different positions in a few different industries. And now I'm in IT, which is really kind of fun. And so I initially switched more so from the public relations side to the marketing side, but there are a lot of similarities. And I think that's just one of those things where it's very flexible, where you can go with your career path. And I think it's great.
Yeah, and you love PR and that kind of stuff. You look like somebody. I mean, you look like a spokeswoman. Let's get real. Like,
Thank you.
you can even hold a yeah.
Yeah, that was what I kind of wanted to do. I initially wanted to do broadcast, and then I was like, ooh, not really feeling super broadcasty. And I just, anxiety got the better of me. And then I ended up switching and was like, yeah, let's just do social media. So kind of worked my way up. And now I work for an IT company. So that's really fun.
Sweet. Sky's the limit. See, and you're
Yeah.
diverse already. Like you're more diverse than my old blood is, man. Like you've already done more stuff. And I love that because you're going to be more marketable and eventually gain the experience to do stuff on the side, right? Build your own business,
Yes.
whatever. Sky's the limit.
Mhm.
So you're not a newbie.
No.
But these two ladies, man, they've been around, right? And then not
Yeah.
only that, but they teach. It's amazing I can speak at all, but I couldn't imagine teaching people how to. And matter of fact, we'll go to Meredith, because Meredith actually spent I don't know 8 hours on the phone one day trying to help me. So I can attest that this woman is made of nerves of steel and patience, and she knows her stuff. And she told me, what'd you tell me? This look, you said
I
something
don't
about I can
remember what I
ramble in
told you.
circles.
It was 8 hours.
Yeah, she said I can ramble in circles. I'm like, oh,
That's
I
what
better
made
not
her
do that.
old.
I know.
Yeah,
That's why I'm wearing a
but
shawl.
you were able to give me practical stuff, and so
Yeah.
you both of y'all were. But so what is your background, Meredith, and what do you do currently?
My background, I have a background in performance. Uh, at a very young age was like, I grew up in Fort Collins, Colorado. I'm going to give you the Cliff Note version. I went to San Francisco because I was racing bikes at the time, total random. And I wanted to be able to go to a place where I could race bikes and do theater at the same time. And so that's why I picked San Francisco, very random. And I did exactly that. And I did a lot of experimental theater. I was introduced to improv through what's called Bay Area Theater Sports. And then I was in this really crazy sketch comedy group that was awesome and fun. And one of the members left and moved to Chicago because he wanted to study improv. So I hightailed it to Chicago, and I interned my way through a place called Improv Olympic, which is now called IO. And then I ended up working at the Second City, which was awesome. And then I took improv, started working with teams and corporations. One thing led to the next. I have my master's in performance. From Naropa University in Boulder, Colorado, because I also wanted to study meditation and mindfulness and also be able to move my body and do other improvisational forms. Had a great career in Denver and then decided to get into an RV as you do in your 40s with a kid and a husband and a cat and a dog, and traveled around the south of the US and Mexico and decided to move to New York City. And so now I live in Manhattan and I am a public speaking coach and I love it. That's it.
And you're so shy. I mean, goodness gracious, look at you. We need to work on your confidence. Yeah, that's part
Sorry.
of.
Yes, I
So
know. I'm
no,
apologizing.
I
You see what I
love it.
just did? I'm kidding.
No, dude, and you dressed up. Not for me, of course, but
Well, it's just
yeah,
it's just one of those multi-use sweaters. So it makes me look like I'm dressing up, with really I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt.
just swim trunks under. Okay, well,
It's swim
that's
trunks
okay.
under.
Hey, just swim trunks in it. There you go. And that leads us to Shelly. How are you today, Shelley?
I am great. And I have
Good.
none of that as a background. None
You have
whatsoever.
the circus as the background.
Don't
Well,
spoil it. Yeah,
yeah.
tell us about I love your background. Tell us about
She has a great background.
And I'm still living in the circus, except without the animals and the three rings. I mean, life is a circus. I'm here by mistake, as a speaking coach. I, like Meredith, do have a background in theater arts. I loved it, but I was too chicken crap to show up and be a performer, if you will. So I stayed behind the scenes in costume design. And yes, one of my jobs was working for Ringling Brothers, and somehow I got to teach the showgirls how to walk with 8 feet of Lady Amherst feathers on their heads in high heels. It
Nice.
was, yeah, it was fun. Nice. The aromas in an arena are a little different. They're a little different than when you're working in an office.
I imagine. So
The
the whole
smells
public
improved.
speak.
What, God?
Yeah, I have a delay, so I'm being ruder than normal. My bad. So keep going. Finish up. Well, how did you land on speaking and helping and coaching? Like, how did that come about?
So, from a very long journey, I ended up in marketing. And as a marketing director, I was the messaging person. I told everybody what to say, wrote the scripts, this and that. Yes, the aromas were much better in the office, for sure. And we were at a conference. I was working in the martial arts industry at the time, and we were at a conference, and the keynote speaker did not show up. And they said, "You, the one who wrote the script, get out there and do it." And that was my first introduction to really being forced to speak on the spot. And it was really eye-opening. And that kind of led me into a journey of, how can I harness this energy? How can I learn to not be so freaked out? I've spent, all my life behind the scenes. Let's be in front of the scenes and be able to handle those things. And I started taking speaking classes.
Dude, it was the same kind of thing that when I became the director of the nonprofit, I got the job and then I was like, oh crap, I got to Google how to run nonprofits. Like somehow I sold it. But they did the same thing to me. I'm like, hey, what are we doing here? They're like, you go speak. I'm like, about what? Like, I'm like, yep. Hey, nothing like cannonballing head first into an ice pond, right? But
Best way to
you
learn.
found it.
Best way to learn.
That's why I wear a
Truth.
hat with
Truth
padding.
bombs.
Yes, ma'am. So, I mean, again, I think you're just a real person, right? And you just figure stuff out the hard way, and then now your main gift is to help other people along the way, and that's why both you and Meredith are special because you give back. You're here. You could be eating and doing other things, and which leads me to no stranger to the hounds of business, Miss Jody Lamb. How are you? Honestly,
Hi, guys.
yeah.
I'm good. Honestly, you don't want the honest
Okay, no,
answer.
stay.
It's been a long week.
You're among
I'm
actresses, just actress stuff. Yes. So you have been traveling and kicking butt and running all over the place and slam dunking business as you always do. And you're here with us anyway. When I know it could have been nice to say my internet's out and not show up. So we appreciate you. And yeah, that's how close we are in the hounds in the pack. I can tell by her face how she's doing. I can tell by a text message how y'all are doing. They're like, hey, hi, Mike. I'm like, what's wrong? They're like, it's creepy. I'm like, yeah, no, but we talk a lot. So you are doing everything. Dude, you were like, I don't know, what Rain Man or something. Like every episode is like, well, Jody could be in part of that because she soaks it up like a sponge. And she's not aspiring, as far as I know, Jody, to be a public speaker. But anytime you could get better at speaking and engaging and talking to people, good things happen, right? Business goes up, referrals and introductions go up. And so
Yes.
we're not going to spoil it, but Jody's got some really big stuff on the horizon. We are not going to spoil it. So this is absolutely instrumental to her. So we appreciate you, ladies. And hey, I tell you what, let's get started. Madison is like she's in school. Show everybody your notepad, Madison. Come on, don't be shy. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you got your little notepad. It looks like I'm playing Candy Crush all the time, and I got to tell people I'm actually paying attention. So because I'm smiling like, I won something. So, Madison, how about you? I'll step out the way. You go ahead and ask the question to whoever. And I want this to be whatever. Y'all have fun. Pick your brain. Free coaching. You're welcome. Go.
Sounds good. So one of my main questions, I have an issue of speaking way too fast. And this is in conversation. This can be presenting. And how do you combat this to try and like force yourself to speak slower?
Meredith, you want to jump in?
Sure, because I know you're gonna do a great job supporting it and have something else to say as well, Shelley. I'll go ahead and start, which is, for one, it's about the practice of slowing down. It's the practice of breathing and being intentional, because speaking fast is something I do, and I feel like a hummingbird has taken over my body, especially when nerves kick in. And what I've had to learn is to really be present by listening to what it is that I'm saying as I'm saying it. When you watch great actors on stage who have to do the same show, get to do the same show night after night after night, they're being invited to perform as if they've said those words for the very first time every single night. And so, with that in mind, that takes a great deal of presence and self awareness. And that's a practice. And so, what I encourage people to do, my clients to do, is to practice the art of slowing down by breathing, by being a better listener, by hearing your own words as they come out of your mouth. And because I'm speaking into this right now, I'm automatically starting to do that myself. So it's difficult when we are put in the position of hopping up on a stage or getting onto a virtual call to automatically switch on to slowing down if we haven't really practiced it.
That makes a lot of
That's so
sense.
true.
Thank
That's so
you.
true. And I can't really add much to what Meredith covered because she covered a gamut of things, but I'll give us an exercise to do. Have a statement, a goal that you have for this conversation, for this presentation, or for the introduction. One sentence. Say it on a timer for 30 seconds. Then set the timer for 90 seconds and say the same thing and stretch it across the 90 seconds with lots of breath, as Meredith just advised. You will start to slow down.
Okay.
Wow.
That makes a lot of sense. I like that because I've done things where it's been 30-second pitches and I end up making that 30-second elevator pitch 15 seconds because I speak that fast.
So
It's just a thing.
I think one of the reasons I speak so fast is because I'm nervous.
Mhm.
And so now I'm consciously pausing and thinking as I'm speaking here. But what is the best way that you can help someone or suggest that someone deal with the nerves that often lead to the overtalking that goes really fast because you're just mind like what recommendations do you have for the nerves stepping on stage? I mean, my first time on stage was a year ago and I loved it. But I also know that I've got work to do.
Shelley, you go. You start this one.
Sure. Thanks, Meredith. Well, I hate to be a myth buster, but those nerves may never and probably won't ever go away. We always have some kind of nervous reaction to things. However, we can reframe it. We could say, I'm really nervous. Take that breath. You know what? I'm excited. Just by saying that word, I'm excited, and the corners turning up on your mouth, your body just immediately gets into like this calming, happy state. And now excitement brings on a whole different approach to it. So you're almost reframing or rechanneling that nervous energy. because it'll show up. I have it too, to this day. Even as a speaking coach, I've coached many people. I've presented many times. I've done many of these lives. And here I am. I do sometimes get nervous. So it's like, well, I'm excited to be here.
So sometimes that excitement can lead to unexpected surprises and can be quickly flipped to a situation that you may not be prepared for, whether it be your mic's not working, or you get stuck in traffic, or you get food poisoning before a podcast. How do you deal with your surprises so that you still come off polished and poised and prepared despite the unexpected? So do you prepare for everything, or you just roll with the punches?
Well, I'm just going to say that if you have food poisoning, there is nothing in the speaking world that's going to make, just stay home, just call in sick. That's way
It's the
beyond our scope. But Meredith, why don't you take this one?
Oh my goodness, there's so much I could say about all this. But I will say one is that I always invite people to be as best practice as you can be. And also you're always working out that adaptability, that flexibility muscle. So being really well practiced and practicing that adaptability piece is huge. That's why I teach improv to a lot of my clients. I have a group coaching program that does that for these exact reasons. You should know your material. You are the expert well enough to where if your tech goes awry, that you are not standing on stage. I'm going to say, do not be apologetic. Stuff happens. B, move through it. Don't make your audience sit through it. So if your slides go to the wayside, you know that content so well that you can deliver that presentation with confidence without those slides. If your mic isn't hot anymore and you're standing there, don't sit there and wait for tech to figure it out. You keep talking. You hop off the stage, start walking around the audience. There are so many different things that we can do, but we cannot do those things. We cannot find the formlessness to engage in different ways if we don't know our material well enough. So most people run into those problems when they're not practiced.
That's great. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And go
Well
home if you're
said. Hey,
sick.
I got to interject.
Yeah, and then go home if you're sick. Good Lord.
Yeah, dude, I love, like, even though Meredith might be freaking out, you never can tell. And by the way, when you're talking about polished, Jody is much more polished than I think she realizes. Um, I've seen her in action. So, I think some of that stuff to me is like self-awareness. Like, we're able to look at you and go, "My God, what a pro! What composure!" And you feel like I'm losing it, but we don't see it. Like, I think a lot of times it's us realizing that we're actually that good at something. And all four of you ladies are, you know, composed, especially when they're around me, right? Like, "Ugh." So remember that too. Like, I love Meredith. Like, Meredith, dude, if she trips and rolls on her head, she'll just jump up and go ta-da. Like, there's nothing that can stop her. And but I see all you all have that. And I think just keep that in mind. Like, you know, everybody in the audience, in my experience, is happy that it's not them. I've realized the audience was cheering me on because they're like, "Shit, I'm glad it ain't me up there." Um, Madison, have you had to do a speech in public other than like school and stuff? Like,
So, yeah. So, my first speech, actually, I was in Girl Scouts, and it was for a Girl Scouts, I think it was a silver award presentation, and my troop elected me as the public speaker for this event. And I was about, I don't know, 15, 16, and that was probably my first public speaking event. And so I had to MC, and it was probably one of the most nerve-wracking feelings because, for one, I messed up. I made a mistake. I said a word wrong. It wasn't bad. It was just I said a different word than I initially anticipated to say. And what I did was I kind of made it into a comedy bit because I was trying to make it funny. Like, okay, well, just roll with the punches. But that was probably the most, freaky type thing. But then when it came to, especially when it came to being in college, I was in broadcasting. And so that was my major. One of my majors is broadcast. The other one is public relations. And we would have to put on newscasts for kind of our specific department, which was fun, but it was almost like doing the same thing. It was reading off a teleprompter and making sure that you don't mess up, because this is live and this is on Facebook. And it was one of those things where you really kind of had to roll with the punches too if you said something wrong, even if you were reading a prompter. So that's just one of the things where I think is very, difficult, because you try and realize like, okay, yeah, you made a mistake, but coming to recover from that mistake is probably the most like important thing to be able to have. So
well, people connect with people, and we all make mistakes. We are going to make mistakes, just like we're going to feel nervous, and people are actually more relaxed when we show up human and we just own that. So it happens. So the light falls out of the ceiling. So the slide gets stuck. So you forget to unmute yourself. Like that's never happened in 3 years. I mean, it's okay. And people just connect with that going, yeah, that's me too. Mm-hmm. And when you lean into it, it works better for you than trying to stuff it and hide it behind you.
Yeah, there's two things that I learned through being an actor and doing a lot of improv. The one is that those mistakes in improv are what I would consider gifts, right? And then the second thing is that when a mistake happens, it's usually the most honest moment. And that's what Shelley was just speaking into, is that it just reveals our humanness. It just reveals that we are all beautifully flawed and beautifully imperfect. And it's a reminder to embrace those things. And it will give another person, I guarantee you, in that audience, courage to stand up and tell their story as well.
Okay, so what's the worst thing that's ever happened to you?
I don't know if I could name them all.
Okay, what's the first that comes to mind? That would have us all giggle.
The first thing that ever happened to me was I was on stage in high school, and it was a talent show, and we were to do this ballet piece. It was a sketch comedy piece. We were all obsessed with SNL at the time. And I was playing the MC, and all the men were dressed in tutus and coming on stage. And I was supposed to do a stage slap with one of the tutu dancing men. It was my friend Ryan. And I went to do the stage slap, and I did not do a stage slap. I slapped him to where he fell off the stage. We had to stop the show, and they had to take him to the emergency room. And thank God he was fine. He had just chipped a jaw. It was horrible. That is the worst possible thing that has happened to me on stage that I can still remember. But there have been many other things after that. I just never hurt anyone after that. No, I did one other time, but we don't have time for that story.
We have
adrenaline will get you. Adrenaline gets you.
Good time, Meredith. Let's hear another one.
Oh my God. Okay.
Don't stop there. Okay, cliffhanger. Come on.
So I was in college. So flash forward like 3 or 4 years later, I'm in college and I'm doing this show called Extremities. And if anyone knows that show, it's Farrah Fawcett played it on TV at once. There was like a movie around this. Anyway, so it's about this man who comes into this woman's house and she's got roommates. I don't remember the whole storyline, but they end up, he tries to sexually molest one of the women, my character, and they tie him up, put him in a fireplace, spray him down with like wasp spray or something. And there's this scene where and my parents came to see this, and now I understand the reaction after watching it. But there's this scene where I'm supposed to take this knife, and it's supposed to be props was supposed to dull it down. They wrapped it with like the whole take care of your props, don't hurt the actors kind of thing. And I accidentally bruised his thigh during a show with this knife because I was getting so into the character. Like it was bad. It was like really amateur, bad acting 101. And so, yes, I've hurt 2 men on stage, but I swear to God, in my adult years, that has not happened. Okay, I'm done.
Oh, sweet.
All right, no blood, no foul.
No, nope.
Just gonna put that out there.
I don't have any physical violence in my interactions. Just saying. Just putting that out there.
So pretty much no man's ever going to meet you in person. Me and you are going to stay virtual forever.
Obviously.
It's all going to be a phone relationship.
Okay, on that note, I'm gonna stop the momentum because that's what I do. I just kill momentum. And I want to ask the question because Constance isn't here. So man, like it's not fun when her little robot brain knows these answers. All right, so Sia, throw the question up, and we'll let the audience tell us what they think. Because I like this question. I was kind of blown away by it. So, how many other countries had already guaranteed women's right to vote before the campaign was won in the United States? Again, how many other countries had already guaranteed women's right to vote before the campaign was won in the US? Yeah, is that not a good one? Do you like that?
That's a good one.
So,
I have
Madison,
no idea.
yeah, Madison just like graduated. I mean, without Constance, we're all just hitting buttons, I think, right now. So, is somebody gonna say Z? I'm gonna say E. All right, so we'll leave that up there or leave it in the audience, however Sia wants to do it. Who wants to ask that? Madison, you've been too quiet. I'm gonna pick on you. All right, that's what I do.
Fine.
You got a whole like smorgasbord of questions. You go ahead and fire them off because these two pro ladies, look, they're just getting warmed up now.
Oh, okay.
And don't. Oh, by the way, Shelly, don't think we didn't get to your horror story. We're gonna save that for last. So go ahead, just be nervous. All right.
Okay. So start with my other question. So, one of my other thoughts too is when you're speaking, kind of how do you do your hand gestures? And when do you know when it's too much?
Aha. There's there's interesting science behind body language. So we speak, that's one way of communicating, but words don't always express how we feel. And there's science behind this. And there's things like body language, visual images that could change or enhance the way we communicate. If you're really connected to what you're saying, and what I mean by that is when you speak, try not thinking about what you want to say. Try thinking about how you feel. How do I feel about what I'm going to say? When you go to the place of feeling, you start to embody wholly how you respond to something. Whether there's passion, my hands will just go up. I'm not saying put my hands up. Or maybe I'm intense and I'm tense and I feel like closing in. When you get deep into the feeling behind something, you're bringing hand gestures in when they're right. If you act the hand gestures, it's probably not organic, and it's probably where you could say, yeah, there's too much. But let it be natural. Let it feel right. Explore that a little bit and see where it takes your speaking. How do I feel about what I'm saying?
Do you find that carries for both podcast and virtual versus the in-person and large stages? Can you get too crazy online because you have such a small window versus if you're on a large stage and you've got a much bigger presence to fill? Are hand gestures more appropriate in that situation versus online? Because it just gets distracting.
I'm curious what Meredith thinks, but for me, in my coaching, whether I coached online or in person, there is no difference. And again, if you're really sitting into how you feel about what you're saying, what your conviction is, what your passion is, how you're connected to it, you got to care about it, right? I care about the flowers. I care about the flowers. I care about the flowers. It's how you lean into that. But I'm curious, Meredith, what has your experience been?
I would agree with all of that. And yes, it's definitely about tapping in about how you feel towards something. It's about being in alignment with your core values and the message in which you're delivering. And then I like to call it like physicalizing the storytelling. That's what you're doing. You're physicalizing the storytelling. It's that mind, body, heart connection that's happening. And I would say it's the same for here virtually or on a stage, just like what Shelly said. I have had clients who've been coached differently. And I think the confusion happens when because of film. Being a film actor is very different than being on a virtual call and giving a virtual presentation. Yes, it's true. In film, less is more. We don't want to be all over the top. That's a very specific kind of guided thing. This is like, be you. Physicalize your storytelling. Feel the energy of what it is that you're saying and how you're saying it. When we try to get too technical, I've the coaching with like, stand with your hands like this, or stand with your hands like there, it that puts people in their heads. We don't want that.
Yeah.
We don't want that. I don't care if you gesture all over the place, as long as you're bringing your full self forward. That's what I want to see. So I'm with Shelley.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody got quiet all of a sudden. What
I
happened?
know.
What
That's the
'cause I'm
power of
private. 'Cause I'm-
silence. That's
I'm
a
private
very powerful, dramatic pause.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so can we build on that? You're leaning into it. You're engaging. You're feeling the feels. But how do you get the audience to feel it too? How do you get them engaged? How do you get them participating when it feels like you've got that awkward silence in the room and you're not getting the feedback that you're thinking? Like, do you pivot? Do you what do you do?
Can I start with this one, Shelley?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like it's a lot of the times when you get to those awkward places, it's usually because you haven't set your audience up for success. And what I mean by that is, I've noticed that sometimes speakers will get up on stage, they'll talk for 5 or 10 minutes, and then they're asking their audience to engage and do something. But those rules haven't been established. So you have to establish those rules from the very beginning. So how would you establish those rules? One way might be, you start with an open-ended question. You ask them a question. What's your biggest pain point with public speaking? Then you get some feedback from them. If it's a large audience, you can't get people speaking, then you just have a show of hands, right? So what happens then is they know exactly what they're going to be called to do throughout the presentation. But if they don't have those rules, then you might possibly have that awkward silence, and that engagement might be a little bit more tough.
It's so interesting because you talk about awkward silences, and there's a very well-known recording of Steve Jobs being interviewed, and he's asked a question and he just stops after giving a few words, and he probably pauses, feels like minutes, and everybody's just sitting there looking around and waiting. It didn't fluster him at all. So there's one school that I lean into, that it doesn't necessarily matter how long that pause is, because what we saw Steve Jobs doing was thinking. He was thinking quietly. And it said to the audience that he's going to say something amazing, because we know he does, but he's really not only going to say something amazing, he's saying something, he's putting a lot into it. He's not just going to talk to spew off nonsense. And people really respond to that. Now, we can't control what other people feel. We can't control what the audience is going to say. There's no way you can do that. We don't know how they're going to respond. We can only know how we feel. Meredith's point, set the tone, set the rules for how you can open by engaging and inviting people. They may or may not like you. We can't control that. But if you feel right about it, if it means something to you, you know that you'll connect, or the people will connect to you on those ideas. And like Steve Jobs, taking those pauses, spending time in your silence, people are going to believe you're really thinking and taking to heart about what you're going to say. You're not just giving them BS.
Oh, 100%. I love that. You reminded me, Shelley, of there's an exercise. There's a Viola Spolin exercise, and she's has since passed, but a wonderful practitioner of improv and theater. And she has this exercise called Just Stand. And so what you do as a participant in the class is you get up in front of the audience and you just stand there for 2 minutes. And 2 minutes will feel like an eternity, but it is riveting to watch somebody just stand. And we are such interesting human beings, and we need to trust that we are being seen if we allow ourselves to be seen. And so I really love what you just said, Shelley, and it reminded me of that exercise. It's very vulnerable.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Hey, ladies,
Yes.
audience questions because we just can't get it. And you, Madison and Jody, y'all ain't new to speaking in public and doing stuff. So chime in when these questions. Everybody just go at it like somebody threw meat out to a hungry pack of wolves. Just go after the dadgum question. Dadgum, dadgum. All right. So now you take what 4 sips? I don't remember. All right. What advice do you give for those? Oh, see, look, you done took it away. Why would you do that, Sia? Are you being mean? Put it back. I can't remember that far. Here I am celebrating your month, and you do this to me. Okay, all right. Dadgummit. All right. What advice do you give for those that present in person versus over Zoom? So, is there any specific? It's similar to what Jody was asking about hands. Me. I need to tie them. So let's see. Uh, Shelly, what advice do you give for people in doing different with person or Zoom?
Well, one thing I tell people on screen is to put on your camera, participate. Let's have that one-on-one. You'd be surprised how many all hands meetings and business meetings people don't turn on their camera. And when you think about that, it's like showing up into a meeting and sitting under the table if you're at a conference room, or putting a paper bag over your head. It just doesn't make sense. But in my experience, I have found that you or the clients I've worked with, it really doesn't. There's such a little difference. I understand performing and there's a big stage versus a small screen. But if you're connected to what you're saying, you know your material, and you use that energy, positive energy, make the nervous energy, excitable energy, just connect to the people, just have a conversation with the people in front of you, whether it's 1,000 people in an auditorium or it's 6 people in a Zoom meeting.
Mm-hmm.
You naturally will adjust to that scenario because you're communicating, you're having a conversation with those before you, as opposed to projecting at them.
I love it. I love it. And by the way, not to pick a fight with you because that would just be stupid on my part. But on a leadership
Please.
perspective on Zoom, yeah, I know better. I know I'm outmatched. This ain't my line. All right, but so let me. I blame the leadership, and I also blame crappy meetings for turning the camera off. And also, there's some meetings I was in where people were like, "Turn your camera on," and I wanted it got that close. I almost showed. I said, "Look, these people have kids, and it's 7 p.m. Why don't you just be happy they're here and shut up and move on with the meeting?" So I texted instead. So I didn't make a pompous, fuss. But I think that's part of it. If it's not engaging, ain't that my fault? Like, like to a point. Like, if I'm not doing it, how can I expect other people to do it? And in this case, if you're boring, then take a class on not being boring. So I agree with what you're saying, but I also think it's a nice scapegoat for crappy meetings. So I don't want to endorse that. But you're absolutely right. I think if you show up, you should show up. Because how the hell can you expect other people to show up, right? And show up consciously and engage. Man, I love it.
And
Lots
there's
of wisdom
nothing wrong
from you.
in a quick follow-up that there's nothing wrong with turning your camera off if you have an issue,
Mm-hmm.
and let the people know. Put it in the chat. I'm sorry, I've got, my cat's running around or what have you. But the more people that put their camera on, the people that don't have it on will start to feel awkward, and they'll say,
Yeah.
well, I better put it on to join in.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I hate that. I'm the only guy just grinning like a monkey, and everybody else is God knows what, right? Like, but yeah, I'm with you. Turn the camera on, participate, and make the damn thing better. That's my philosophy. So, uh, Mary Baker has a great question. Let's throw it at Meredith since she's been quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah, let's throw it at Meredith, and then I want to hear from the two quiet ones over there. What's the best tool for hooks at the beginning of a speech?
Well, there's a lot of different hooks that you can use for the beginning of a speech. So I would say either be specific about what kind of a hook that you're using, whether that's a what if hook, or whether that's a statistic that's a hook, or whether that's an open-ended question like I had mentioned before as your hook. Maybe it's a story that you begin with, that's a hook. So there are a variety of different ways that we can hook our audience at the very beginning. What I always encourage people to not do at the beginning is to do the salutations, to say, thanks so much for having me here today. I'm so glad to be here. You probably have already been introduced, but you weren't, but not saying your name right away, but getting to the core, like start strong, get them engaged, leaning in. You can then later, if you haven't been introduced already, introduce yourself for credibility after that hook, after that story. I always use this analogy of, imagine you went to the theater and imagine you go to the Lion King, okay? And you just spent all of this time and money to get there. And the first thing that happens is a bunch of actors like shuffle onto the stage, and you watch them try to get their tech together. And a couple of them didn't have their costumes on. And then one actor walks on stage and says, "Hi, thank you so much for being here. We're just about to start the show." Like, it would ruin that opening. You would not lean in and be engaged. You'd be like, what the heck did I just spend my money on? And that's what I'm inviting my clients and folks to do, is like, ask yourself, if I was the audience member, what would I want to see for my opening? So that was a very long answer to hooks, but I'm very passionate about how we start presentations, because they are what differentiate you from the bad ones.
Okay, I
I
can't be
appreciate-
unfair. I can't be unfair to after I brutally interrupt Jody and she finishes. I have to ask that same question to Shelly. I saw her face light up, so I have to be redneck Santa Claus here. Go ahead, Jody. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying, I'm totally changing my intro for tomorrow's speech. I'm presenting.
Love it. Tell us.
I'm totally presenting to a bunch of women tomorrow in financial services, talking about what could be considered a very boring, dull subject. So I am absolutely taking all of that to heart. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Let us know how it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be fine.
Oh, good.
It'll be fine. It'll be what it is.
Look at
It's
her
gonna be fine.
confidence.
I love it. I love it.
I still have to put my PowerPoint together tonight after
Oh,
this, so it'll be fine. I'm fine.
Shelly, what is your take? By the way, do you think you always have to have a hook, or can you just ask a really good question and tell a really riveting story? What's your take on this?
I believe in storytelling, and we all love a good story. The truth is, it's the best way to engage people. That's why we are attracted to movies and songs, and we like poems, because there's a story and it's gripping, and that takes us in. And even in the financial world, there is a story. There is a story. So that's my thing. The hook is really, it's just start with a story. When you walk into a room of friends and somebody just starts saying, "Hey, this just happened today," or "What did you think of that?" It's a great way to just open up a room. "Hey, this just happened on my way to the show." You've seen that sometimes in presentations, and it's like, just makes it real. It grounds it, and it brings the data. It puts a face to the data points.
Oh, 100%. That emotional connect is so important. Yeah. It doesn't matter how technical it is.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Madison, hi.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. No, you ain't gotta be sorry about it. This is great, and I wanted to make sure that because you had like a whole scroll of so you've been here. It could be a question, it could be a comment. Well, share with us. What are you picking up? Did you learn something, or do you have a question for these ladies? Floor is yours.
You know what? Everything that I've learned has been it's amazing advice. And I will definitely take everything into consideration because, my main thing was talking too fast, hand gestures, and y'all answered those to a T, body language, because that's all important, especially when you're speaking, whether it be for, a presentation for work or something, whether you're speaking at a conference. Everything that goes into that is so important. And I think, I can take away a lot of the information that was said today. So thank you all.
You're
Awesome.
speaking
It doesn't
slower
speak.
already.
I know. That's
I'm
great.
trying.
Doesn't she have a
I'm
good
learning.
presence?
Thank you.
Doesn't she have
Beautiful
a good
presence.
presence? It doesn't experts doesn't aura or just presence and energy count for something? I know it sounds hokey, but she looks, she's got to be a little nervous, right? She doesn't do this every day, but she doesn't look nervous. She seems, she fits in well. I mean, isn't that half of it at least? Isn't that a part of it? Just how you
Mhm.
feel about yourself. I think Shelly's the one that said it. What you think is important or not more important than what you're going to say. Yeah, because if
Mhm.
you're saying it with passion and you're excited about it and it means something to you, yeah, the words might come out, okay, but man, the body language and the intensity and your belief in that resonates. I mean, how do you explain me? Like I'm not a public speaker, extraordinaire. I just believe what I say and I want to push people up and do whatever the hell it takes. And through that, I've got these brilliant ladies who help me, uh, and that's no easy task, with little tips here and there, and watching them helps. Just watching your ladies' videos on your post and the things you're teaching. I mean, you're giving that stuff away for free, and I know that you coach people, right? You teach people valuable things so they can be better and make more money. So if you're not taking advantage of following and ringing the bell and getting all this free kudos from these ladies, something's wrong with you because I sure as heck am. So uh, Jody, Jody launched it. So Jody has a speech tomorrow, so we're going to end this soon. Um, how what is the one major thing? I'm putting you on blast because you're a super pro. You can handle it. All right. Don't be coy. You know you're badass. All right, keep it up. So what is the one thing that you were most nervous about or going into this? Because you're going to be live audience, probably a lot of people, no pressure. What was the thing that you were most nervous about at that going into it? And how do you feel about it now?
Are we talking about tomorrow or my first time?
Well, tomorrow, like, you had to be a little nervous about tomorrow. So what was it that, was like, if I forget my name or like, what was it that was kind of like, oh, I hope that don't happen.
I will come into a presentation knowing that I'm the subject matter expert. No matter
Mhm.
what I'm going to say is still going to be so much more information than what they knew before I showed up to begin with. If I forget to say something, it gives me opportunity to follow up in the future. If I totally take a tangent on what I thought I was going to talk about, I'm leaning into what I feel like the audience wants to hear. So I'm just going to roll with the
Mhm.
punches. I haven't put together my PowerPoint slide. I know what I'm going to do, but I've also learned that I don't do well with scripts. I do much better when I speak from the heart. I have a rough outline of the things that I want to talk about, but I'm not going to be reading a script line by line because if I write it down, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the audience's reactions and kind of lean into that. And as long as I hit my main points, I'm going to call it a success. And that's totally different than where I was a year ago when the first time I spoke in the Las Vegas convention stage in front of a bunch of people that are industry peers who knew what we were talking about, but didn't have my unique perspective. Learning to find confidence in what I know and be that subject matter expert has a level of just basic foundational confidence that I just can stand on and everything else will fall into place. It'll be
Mhm.
fine. It'll be fine.
Mhm.
And like Mike says, everyone else is just glad it's not them up there. But as long as you're delivering valuable information and in the end, your audience members leave with more than what they came in with. It's a success, especially if they're smiling and they're engaged and a little bit of entertainment involved. Because even though I'm teaching or I'm speaking on a very uh, can be considered a boring or dry topic, investments and then tax, advantageous strategies, we make it fun with stories. We make it personable with situations that everyone can relate to. And from that, it becomes a conversation. And I'm not speaking at people. I'm speaking with people. And so I try to make it engaging and it's going to be fine. I'll put together my PowerPoint tonight and we'll have an amazing time tomorrow.
Did you see that comment from what was it? Who was that? Janice or Michelle? Michelle said, "I overthink." Well, Michelle, you have come to the right place. I am the king of recovering thinkaholic. Most people here are right, because when you're at the top of your game and you have desire and stuff, sometimes that comes with it. It's you overthink. Right, it's a little too much. But I love the attitude. It's got to be most of this. It's just she's got Jody's got the nerves like everybody else does, and she's had a heck of a weekend. She probably, all these challenges, but the right mindset. I mean, I can't imagine she's going to go in with the right mindset like this and then come out a disaster. It just doesn't work that way, right, Meredith? Right, Shelley? And
Mhm.
that's what I liked about Madison, right? Because even though we're gonna pick on her because she's young and she doesn't know my references without Googling them and stuff, but she still, I mean, it doesn't matter what your age is. She has the right attitude. She sees herself as a pro. I mean, she recently switched careers and didn't say, "Oh, I can't do that." Well, she said, "Well, hey, you should hire me." Yeah, and they did, right? So, again, confidence. I mean, Meredith's beating up grown men on the stage. I mean, gee whiz, if this ain't enough to convince you to have courage, and then the confidence will follow, then I don't know. Um, so hats off to every single one of you all, um, because again, we're celebrating history, women's history. But daggum, the present's looking good, isn't it? And I care. I know it sounds weird coming from a dude in a camel hat, but I've got two little hillbilly daughters, right? And I want a better place in the world and equality and things for them. That's the reason I've run these two businesses, so they can take that over and grow it, so it can hire people, pay people right, treat people well. That's what my whole goal is. And so this is special to me. I know my big girl's watching, so I appreciate you teaching her at the ripe age of 10, right? Because she is not shy. She's like Meredith. I got a little Meredith in the house. Yeah, that's why I can handle all these women without getting shredded. Because I have a lot of practice. I got a lot of females in the house. So, um, closing comments. So, I'll start with Shelly. All right, one little thing that you just want to share with folks that they can take away today, and how do we find you, and how do people learn more about you? Because I love your presentation. I love your practical conversational style, and I got a lot out of it before this, and especially now. So, how can people find you, and what do you want to leave people with?
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate that. The one thing is to really just feel good. I mean, we're all having a good time today, so we obviously are feeling good about speaking. And no speaking coach is teaching you how to speak. You know how to do that before you come into our session. What you do know is your story, and you do know your history. And sharing that and being yourself is really what shines. And that's my final word.
No, she just like it's just a chat. Like I don't even know she's coaching and teaching half the time. That's why it's so easy. It's just she just I love her style, and she's just calm, you know, unlike me. So we're a good balance, man. We're good. And I hope Supermom didn't leave because before I close, I'm gonna tell her how she threw me under the bus. But before we do that, uh, Meredith,
Yeah.
who is just
Yeah.
improv city, knocking drunken sailors off stage. What would you like for us to know that we already done? I can't know how you could beat that one. Uh,
Uh,
but how can we find you? What do you do? And what do you want to leave us with?
You can find me on LinkedIn. Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate you inviting me to be here today. This has been a really wonderful conversation. But you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me at grundeicoaching.com. You can find me on TikTok, where I give away public speaking and presentation skills tips all the time. And the one thing that I am going to leave people with today is that your voice matters, your story matters. What you do have to say is interesting. It does need to be heard. And if that feels incredibly scary to you, I understand that. And there are ways that you can start to share your story. If that wound is, that wound sometimes is a little bit raw and open, and I get that. And so sometimes we don't want to speak from that open wound. But there are ways that we can share a little bit at a time until we build that strength to be able to share it in front of a group of people, because I do truly believe, which is why I love the work that I do, that stories change lives and stories change the world. So I'm encouraging people to take those little baby steps to tell your story. That's what I leave you with.
And have you publicly spoke before? You seem very polished. You might be a professional. You might want to check that as a career. Both of you ladies, man, I love it. And all right, so Madison, what do you want to leave us with to the speakers, to the audience, to whoever? And how can we find you? As weird as that may sound, what's the best way to contact you? Because you're just a nice lady. You love connecting people. You're supportive. You have been a great addition to the pack. My goodness, and yeah, you let me talk too much, so that's always a bonus, right? So, what do you like to leave everybody with? Final thoughts. You got the floor.
So, final thoughts, I would say I'm definitely going to take away the advice to kind of stretch out, do the 60 seconds and then stretch that out to 90 and see if I can slow myself down. So I'm definitely going to take that into consideration for sure. You can find me on LinkedIn, and or at my company's page. It's Continuous Networks. So I'm usually posting on there as well. So.
There you go. Yes, we love shameless plugs here. My goodness.
Yeah, sorry, shameless
Me,
plug
I do
because
it.
my boss may be watching me right now. So
Hey, well, really? Really?
maybe.
Wow. Man, I feel like Oprah more every day. Gee whiz. All right. Well, boss, if you're watching, hey, I didn't even know you were watching it. Hey, I'll hire her. So y'all better keep her. Whoever hires her.
Talk about hiding out, Mike.
I know.
No, you see, look. They've got to have that personality. I mean, most people do. I mean, she wouldn't work nowhere it wasn't great, right? So good job, boss. We're rooting for you, boss. Um, and yeah,
Yeah.
so now we go back. We got to let Miss Jody Lamb go because she got a speech to write. But what was your final thoughts? What are your takeaways and whatever? You can sing the alphabet. Just say something. You're a pro.
You don't want me to sing the alphabet, but I do want to just point out this has been so informative and empowering. And so thanks to Shelley and Meredith for sharing your wisdom with our audience, and Mike for bringing us all together, because this is such a strong community of women working together. We've got a common goal. We absolutely can do amazing things, and supporting each other, getting through these nuances that we're either intimidated by or learning from. That's what this network is about. That's what this community is about, is supporting each other, helping each other. So thank you all for bringing us together. And I just want to remind everyone and encourage everyone to never underestimate the power of our voice. Our words have potential to inspire and motivate and drive change. So speak up, share your stories, keep inspiring others to do the same, and keep showing up. That's what we're here for, is support each other and encourage each other. And thank you for bringing us together.
Hey, my pleasure. By the way, because I didn't want to gush on you too much, because it's too much. I gush on everybody. That's why I'm liked, because I really like you all. But I tell you honestly, Jody, we appreciate having you around. You help me and others way more than you know, and so we just want to remind you of that. You're very encouraging. Uh, you're open about your weaknesses and imperfections, and that really opens up the rest of the pack to do that. And you've done that in your posts, you've done it in your content, and I've seen people resonate with that extremely well. Sometimes it's just having the courage to say, I'm not feeling perfect, now I'm having a bad day, or and you do that, and I see that a lot of other people resonate with that. And I think that goes for all these ladies, that they're if you all have one common foundation, you're just real. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's trying to be none, they're not. Meredith wears, whatever she wears, PJs with footies on. She doesn't, and I don't care, because she doesn't care. And I just love the confidence, and the, it does me good to realize that, I don't see the gender issue, and I don't see all that. I just see good people and not good people. And that's what I see. And but you all are all super pros. I see what you're doing. I know it sounds stalkerish, but I see when you're doing good things for other people. Uh, it's paying it forward. You guys are just something special. And again, this is a call and a shout out to anybody in the pack who's watching. Reach out to somebody. It doesn't have to be me. Uh, Reach out. They're friendly people. Ask good questions, give encouragement, say, way to go. I saw you on the show. just wanted to encourage you. Man, that goes a long way. That goes a hell of a lot longer way than you want to buy my product and ever you don't care about. Like, no. Say, hey, I saw you on the show. Kick butt tomorrow, Jody, on your dude. That kind of stuff goes a lot. Kindergarten skills. Kindergarten skills. Just go back and there's books on it, man. Just go back and get them. So I appreciate everyone. Don't leave because Supermom. I think Supermom's probably somewhere, fixing the Atlanta Falcons dinner. But listening to me, I know she is. And so, Supermom, when y'all were talking earlier about things going wrong or being caught off guard. So I showed up to Supermom's thing. I was the only guy there. So I was like, oh, am I not supposed to be here? Right. But then I realized that's just my thing. And so I show up and she puts me in a group of people that we don't know. I'm just playing along. And then in about 3 minutes, somehow I got tasked with 30 women on the Zoom to sing a parody of the 12 Days of Christmas. Now I know I look like I come out the womb with a banjo, but I did not. All right, or a microphone. So yeah, and so what did I do? Just go with it, just like these two ladies were saying, man. You're like, hey, you can either freak out and pull the internet cable, right, or the hell with it. Just go for it. And it was so funny because in those moments you get more people connecting with you and wanting to know more about you and all of this because they didn't expect that, right? And it made other people laughing and smile. And then that's Supermom's genius. She knew if she put my monkey butt in there, everybody would warm up real quick. So have fun, be playful. Yeah. Okay. So you ladies back here telling me what to do. Why don't y'all just do it? Just do it. Hey, see ya. Jump up here. All right. Y'all do it. Look, Sia's mad because somebody's touching their microphone. That's inappropriate.
Oh my God, that was do you not understand, young man? Sometimes things need to be saying backstage. Jeez Louise, these people.
I don't have any sense. Did we just meet? What are you talking here? You know I'm not, right? Get the hell out of here. All right. So what are we gonna do? You lead us, Sia.
I have no idea what we're doing. I just saw you guys talking about it, so I said do it.
Superwoman pose. We talked about at the beginning.
Oh, that's Amy Cuddy. Everybody
do their Superwoman pose.
Superwoman pose. Yeah.
Oh look, she's doing the Hulk Hogan. Did you see that? Did you that? Look, do it. Is that fair to you?
Stop it.
Am I going to get a cease and desist order from Hulk Hogan now? That would be awesome. Hulk,
that would be awesome. Watching, will you let us know when that happens?
Dude, send me a legal paper.
We're striking the pose now.
Sign it for me. All right. Hey, before you all go, wanted to make sure that we thanked you, we appreciate you, and anybody out there, again, what is the pack? Man, it's just a group of people that want to do more than transactional business. And right, Miss Raquel needs to come up here and tell people what the pack is. And Jody, because Jody was telling about the pack, and I'm like, damn, that was really good. I'm going to act like I gave her that to say, like, because that was really good. But look, I met people today, Supermom show. People are scared. And this is a place to not be scared. Don't paralyze yourself. All right. If you're wanting to do something and you got negative tapes or you don't know where to start, well, you've come to the right place, man. Reach out. If we can't help you, we might know somebody who can. Well, we got 600, I don't know, 1 million followers in the inner hounds. So tap into it. All are welcome here, man. So I tell you what, I'm not going to keep everybody. I'm going to say dadgummit because some people look thirsty, right? See, you look thirsty. And your dogs weren't back there being inappropriate. I'm not liking that. I've gotten accustomed to her dogs back there because I'm like, can you zoom in? What is that? And she moves the camera. So, hey, I'm going to close with just one quick thing. Reach out. Yeah, believe it or not. So, hey, reach out to me if you're looking to grow, you're looking to network, you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired, don't know where to start, man. You're preaching to the choir here. So if you want to do something, you just took the first steps. If you're starting a new business, whatever it may be, but you want to get out there and network and build a community of people that just go to bat for you because you go to bat for them, right? Tit for tat, the game of ping pong. Go to theprobusinessmechanic.com, hit me up on LinkedIn. Again, if I can't help you, I'll tell you that. If you wanted me to help you later, I'll help you later. I just want people to know who we are, what we do. That's why these ladies are here. right? Because once people know what you do, somebody's going to need you. Somebody's going to want you. Right? They're going to want your coaching. They're going to want your friendship. They're going to want these things. And that's what this is about, right? Because how can I do something I don't know about it? That's what the pack and the hounds are all about. So go out there, have fun. Ladies, you are great. And without further ado, round them up, play the outro. We will see you on next Wednesday. Don't miss it. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.